In the coming weeks, teams must decide on using the fifth-year option for 2022 first-round picks. What should they do? We're exploring that today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year.
Joe, happy Monday. Happy Julian Blackmon visiting with the Panthers day to you. And the biggest question I have for you is, why does nobody like Julian Blackmon based off he was a free agent last year and I thought was a good target in free agency, went back on like a 1 year, $4.25 million deal, and now still has not signed here as we're within a week of the end of March.
Safeties are weird, man. The draft projections on safeties, the free agent evaluations, the re-signing, it's all weird all the time with safeties.
He'd be pretty high up on my list versus
good player.
Some of the other safeties that are out there.
It doesn't mean he's not a good player, but the contractual piece of it is always just very strange.
I don't know if he went back on a 1 year, $4.25, right? We can. Are we going to talk? We're going to talk safeties in segment 2 for sure. Kyle Hamilton in today's show.
It'd be real easy.
Nice transition. I'm getting myself recalibrated here before we go too far down the rabbit hole. We're looking at fifth-year options for the 2022 NFL draft class. And the way that these work, if you're not familiar, is players come in with a 4-year established scale, and first year or first round picks get a 5th-year option at the end of that is based on a number of qualifying thresholds that give players the chance to earn more in the 5th year based off of the position that they play. There's a flat rate, a basic. There is a playtime incentive that is 75% or greater in 2 of the first 3 seasons for snaps played for their team. An average of 75% or greater across all 3 seasons, or 50% or greater across the first 3 seasons would get you the playtime incentive, which is a bump in pay. That's an average of the top X number of salaries at your position. And then Pro Bowl, multiple Pro Bowls automatically gets you into tiers 3 and 4, Joe.
All right. So our objective here is to look at every 2022 first round selection and say what the team should do.
Yep. So we're going to take a look starting. This was, of course, the 2022 draft was the Travon Walker class.
Yeah.
Will always be remembered as the midnight pivot, right? It felt like it was Hutch for quite some time going in, and then momentum in the last 24 or 36 hours. Jags might take Travon Walker, and sure enough, they did. So Travon Walker qualifies for the playtime incentive as a, God bless the CBA, a linebacker in the classification here for Travon Walker. So the playtime incentive is $14.75 million, fully guaranteed for his 5th-year option, which would be for 2026.
Now, look, generally speaking, I'm in favor of players getting extended. And you pick these up really to just lock in the player, and I think you should always work towards extensions if they're your guy.
Right.
So let's go ahead and establish that. I don't think any player really should play their 5th-year option on their 5th-year option. I think you should avoid that at all costs. So just want to get that out of the way first. But for a guy like Travon Walker, I think at $14.75 million, I think you go ahead and lock that in for 2026.
I'm also pro 5th-year option for Travon Walker.
Yeah.
And historically, before we get too far down the rabbit hole, this is usually about what, 60%? Maybe a little higher. I think last year we had like 14.
Oh, for them getting picked up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how, obviously, this was a very hit or miss down the stretch draft. So we'll keep tabs on that. Aiden Hutchinson, this one's pretty easy. We're both going to propose a contract extension get done proactively. But in the meantime, yes, take that 5th-year option. He qualifies for tier 3, which is 1 Pro Bowl appearance. It'd have been 2 if he didn't get hurt this year. That injury, unfortunately, cost him almost $5 million, $4.5 million for the 5th-year option cost for Aiden Hutchinson, but $20.86 million. Yes, take the 5th-year option.
Easy yes on that one.
Easy yes. Which takes us to Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, because Derek Stingley's already it's done.
Stingley's already extended. So that one, there's no need to list that one out. Sauce, more than 1 Pro Bowl for a cornerback is the equivalent of $20.186 million. And that's a bargain right now with what the corner market has done in the last, 2 months? So
yep.
We're going to go ahead and lock in on Ahmad Sauce Gardner as well. Yes.
Easy yes.
All right. Things are going to get a little interesting here. So Kayvon Thibodeau is our next one. 14.75. So this is the same dollar amount as Travon Walker. It qualifies for the playtime threshold. So tier 2. Thibodeau's been a good player. I don't think he's necessarily lived up to the pre-draft perception of him. Is that a fair thing to say? I don't feel like that should be super controversial, but I know there were a lot of people that were like super high, thought Kayvon Thibodeau might have been the best edge in the class.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kayvon Thibodeau probably. Hey, there's been a lot of turnover with defensive coordinators with him, with the Giants, and I think when you don't play good complementary football, which has kind of been the case with the Giants, that hurts a guy like Thibodeau, who's, you're gonna think he's good or not based on his ability to create pressure and create sacks, and like, I don't think the Giants really have positioned him to produce to his capability. I think it makes it a little bit challenging.
And not even with what's around him on the defensive front, just the script of games in which they play on a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, it mitigates the player.
Issue.
Yeah, it really mitigates Thibodeau. So I'd want to stay committed to him, but and I don't 14.7, that doesn't, if you think about
not
what he would get,
number.
Yeah, I think this is a yes, but maybe not as easy as the first 3.
Yeah, because I think there's some complicating factors there. Ike Ekwonu, offensive tackle, also qualifies for the playtime incentive. No Pro Bowls here. 17.56. So this is the first time we're really underscoring a playtime incentive. The difference in the pay for offensive line bucket versus the edge/linebacker bucket. The playtime incentive is almost $3 million more at offensive tackle than it is for the linebacker group.
I think Ike's had a really mixed bag so far to his career. I think you could probably really invoke the coaching element as well, where there's just been no consistency there. I'm interested in the highs. I know there's still some lows, but the highs are really appealing to me. And I think the offensive line did stabilize a bit last year as their guard situation got better. They cost a lot of money, but boy, they needed that. I'd want to stay the course here with Ike. I could see saying no here and then just hopefully doing an extension, because that's a hard number to commit to when there's been uneven play. I still think there's ceiling. I still think there's upside. So I feel like almost like the offensive version of Thibodeau, where if I said yes for Thibodeau, I feel like I should say yes here.
Yeah, I think congruency in understanding their situations is helpful. When you consider you mentioned the coaching staff change, but this entire offensive vision in Carolina has been a mess, really. And he was really rough his rookie season. And then you felt like he stabilized a little bit more in 2023 versus 2022. We still got to get a little bit of the Laramie Tunsil thing with false starts going on, so we got to clean that up. But the potential that's here, and I don't know, man. I think this tackle market's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm not afraid of that number if I'm Carolina, especially with, you got a quarterback on a rookie deal and got a lot of flexibility. And I would covet that longevity, and then knowing full well if you need to make a pivot or you get an upgrade opportunity, that's a dollar amount that you could probably get somebody to bite on something for. Like if you wanted to trade Ike Ekwonu next offseason, I don't think is going to look at 17.5 as the starting point and not feel like there's a future there.
So, I bet the Patriots would love to have that right now. I bet you they kill to have that. And the Dan Moore and Jalen Moore contracts give you every piece of information you need to know that that's not
Correct.
A scary number.
So yes, I'm yes for Icky.
You want to just real quick no to Evan Neal and get to break here?
No for Evan Neal at 16.685. No, thank you. Hard pass. We'll do the rest of the top 10 and then get into the teens here next. Locked on NFL Scouting. Stick with us.
Ever check your bank account and wonder where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just another budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. The insights are surprising. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much money I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. The convenience is awesome. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Plus, it's easy to collaborate. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. You can pick your favorites, folks. I got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. And you can stay in the action with tournament games happening almost every single day. There's always something exciting to bet on. Plus, it's easy and fast. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. There's no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long.
Speaking of the tournament, I did see on the timeline yesterday there was one perfect bracket after Duke's win over Baylor. I assume that was you?
No, I had Memphis going to the Final Four, so that didn't work out for me.
They lost in the first round.
Yeah, so
they were 5 seed, right?
They were the 5 seed, yeah.
I haven't looked at any of the brackets. I just remember us talking about 12-5s at the end of last week. And you were like, well, I got Memphis rolling as a 5.
Never tweet. Evan Neal is our only one so far.
Evan Neal are only no.
Yeah, our only consensus no.
Although Sauce is going to count as a yes because they did it as a part of the.
Oh, you mean Stingley? Yeah.
Stingley, yes, excuse me. So Stingley's going to count as a yes.
Yeah, well, yes, of course.
Because they put the 5th-year option into the contract extension.
Yeah, if we did this show prior to that extension, we would have said yes. So
correct. So we're going to get that one right. We'd have got it right. We'll probably get this one right too. Drake London, 16.8. Numbers were way up with Penix on the field.
Yeah.
They're going to be super juiced about that. Go ahead and lock that one in. There's not a lot of markets that are growing as fast as the wide receiver market. That's Jamar Chase. He just blew the top off it.
Easy yes.
Easy yes for Drake London. Charles Cross, offensive line, qualifies for playtime, same as Ike Ekwonu. 17.5 is the dollar amount here.
It's an easy yes as well. I think I'm excited to see him in this Kubiak offense. I think it's very interesting to me. I think there's still more growth for Charles Cross, but I think he's on a good trajectory.
Well, and you knew when they drafted him out of Mississippi State and just the offense that they played, right? Like with the Mike Leach air raid, like you knew there was going to be some growth that was required there. And man, I would not be mad about seeing a stable player next to him too.
Right.
And I don't know that they're going to get it this year. I mean, maybe they lay the foundation for it this year. But you can look at that Seattle front and pick any of the 3 guys on the interior and say that they get benched this year. And you're like, yeah.
Get it. Yeah.
I get it. So, Charles, plenty of talent there. Very good pass protector. continuing to be an ascending player, I'm a yes as well. Garrett Wilson, Joe, number 10, no Pro Bowls. The curse of playing wide receiver in the AFC, right? How good this guy is, and the curse of playing with some of the Jets quarterback options the last couple years.
Yeah, I think you have to pick this up, obviously, for what he's been able to do, but you want to control Garrett Wilson for as long as you can before he's part of the decision-making process,
Right.
So I think that's a yes.
I think this, if of the names in the top 10, if there was a team that would, I think, benefit the most from getting their contract extension done with the player that we've just talked about the most, it would probably be the Jets and Garrett Wilson.
Yep.
Yes. Put me down for a yes. Chris Olave, wide receiver. The difference from a playtime level 2, which is what Garrett Wilson and Drake London were, versus just the basics. So Chris Olave hasn't qualified for any of the playtime incentives. It's 15.49 here versus 16.817 for the Garrett Wilson, Drake London playtime bucket. I'm scared of this one, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, because he had the 2 concussions last year. He only played 8 games, but this guy's first 2 seasons, back-to-back 1,000 yards. I mean, obviously a big play guy. I think he's a force multiplier with his ability to win vertically and space the field. I mean, he's, from a skill set perspective, you're really not thinking twice about this. I mean, he turns 25 in June. He's a good football player.
Yeah.
It just comes down to your comfort level over the medicals. And I think a team like the Saints, though, that'd be difficult. That'd be difficult to put yourself in a position where you're locking in that hard number for 2026 for a player that you have concerns about durability. I think that's what makes it complicating, not the skill set.
I would agree. And I think with the injury history that he currently carries into year 4, I think regardless of how 2025 goes, I think that will ultimately impact like his relative cost on the market if they decline the 5th-year option, and then, the Saints are negotiating a contract extension with him / he hits the open market. I'm sure there would be lots of interest there, but like fully guaranteed money and injury guaranteed money, like all of that's going to be, make for some complicated negotiation conversations that I think teams would not have to worry about with other players. So if I were New Orleans, I would probably, just based on their cap situation plus the injury issues here.
It's a reluctant no, right? That's because it's the Saints.
It's a no, not through the lens that I don't want the player back, because I do want Chris Olave long-term on my football team.
Yes.
But I think if you're managing risk here for a team that doesn't have a lot of cap wiggle room because of how they've conducted their business.
Right.
It'd be one thing if you say, yeah, we'll put the 5th-year option. We know we're going to get a contract extension done. But what happens if he has another 2 concussions this year?
It's a nightmare. That's not a world the Saints can live in. That's why they have to say no. If he's healthy and then you want to stick with him, get the deal done.
I think it's more about the Saints than it is about Chris Olave, although the injuries don't help.
Right. I agree.
Jameson Williams, same bucket. Basic, no playtime qualifications, $15.49 million for Jameson Williams.
And this is a hard one because last year he was kind of the player he's supposed to be, 1,000 yards, over 17 yards a catch. The vertical stuff was all there, but the first 2 years were still the first 2 years. Right. With gambling suspension. Didn't he get PED suspension? There's been issues here.
He's a young guy, though. He's still 23. He turns 24 this
tomorrow,
week,
right?
On Wednesday. Happy birthday, Jameson!
Right. And I love the player.
But we also talked about Detroit last week.
Right.
We did the thing with all the big contracts and the draft classes. I think you could probably lock him in and get a little bit more information. And I don't think 15's like...
No, yeah, you're right.
Who Darius Slayton got, was it 12 per? 3 through 36 to go back to New York? And the cap's going to go up. This is 2026 numbers.
Yeah.
Put me down for a yes for JMO.
I'm with you, but that's not an easy yes.
I agree. Jordan Davis, you need to talk about not easy answers here.
Okay, so Jordan Davis has kind of been exactly what I thought he would be.
Go ahead, spike the ball.
Well,
spike the ball.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that's played 37% of snaps this year, 45% last year, 26% the year before.
Averaging less than 400 snaps per season.
Yeah. Simultaneously, I promise you, if Jordan Davis hit the open market, he would get more than the 12.9 that he would get on this. I guarantee you that.
Kinlaw just got 15.
Yeah. He's going to get that.
He'd get 20.
So, like, I kind of think he's an important player for that defense, but it's a hard valuation for me to put this type of a price tag on him. Especially, I mean, the Eagles want to be flexible with cap. This doesn't allow them to be flexible with cap when you're committing a hard $13 million in 26 to Jordan Davis. That's just kind of not how they do business.
Is this a trade candidate? Is this you draft not Kenneth Grant, but like, is this
Alfred Collins or something?
Yeah, you draft some Tylik Williams.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to reset the money there.
It'd be interesting.
I'm probably going to say no here.
I'm going to say no at 13 as well. Just because they like to spend. They're not afraid of cash over cap and all that. But you've started to see it this year with Darius Slay and the Dallas Goedert rumors, like some offloading and reshuffling. And I think this is a great opportunity for a player who is really, really good at what he does, but the snap volume there is challenging. So right. I'm with you. No.
All right. More to get to. A lot more to get to on the other side of it, folks. More. Be sure to stick with us.
Oh, boy. We should have known. All 32 teams are. It's even 31. We didn't even get 32. But some of these are going to speed up for us pretty quick.
We're going to have to.
Kyle Hamilton, safety, yes. 18.6, multiple Pro Bowls, highest possible amount. Yes, 18.6.
Yeah. Still a bargain at 18.6.
This will be. How about Philly having 3 of the 4 names here in this stretch? Under contract.
Right.
Because Kenyon Green, who was drafted by the Texans, was a part of a trade this offseason as Philly tries to get their next life hack to step in for Mekhi Becton at right guard and be an answer and be cheap there. And didn't the Texans pay that dollar amount down too?
I think
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like they bought down some of the salary, so it's even cheaper for Philly. 5th-year option at 16.68. I could tell you if you were going to be in that stratosphere, they probably would have just kept Mekhi Becton. No.
No, yeah, it's a no.
No. Also on the Philadelphia Eagles, Jahan Dotson, who was traded before the season from Washington to Philadelphia as their wide receiver 3. His 5th-year option price, he qualifies for playtime. So he's in the same bucket as Garrett Wilson and Drake London at $16.8 million.
Big catch in the Super Bowl, man.
No.
But no.
No. So those are the kinds of players that are going to help us get back on track here. We got a couple more coming. Zion Johnson's an interesting one. He qualifies for playtime incentives. That's 17.56. He might scoff at that number.
I'm not.
But I've seen the guard market the last 2 years, brother. And it might feel
this is Aaron Banks money, man. This is just Aaron Banks money. This is nothing.
This is not even Aaron Banks money.
Right. This is nothing, brother. I think Zion's been a good player.
He has been a good player.
Yeah. It's a yes.
Chargers, they got Alt on the rookie contract. They'll be in the early years of the Slater extension, assuming they get one done.
They're going to have they have money pouring out their ears.
Because they reset the transition thing last year.
Their projection for next year's cap space is off the charts. They have money. They got plenty.
With a quarterback on a second contract already. Dude, a great place to be. Yes.
They're
okay.
Fine.
We're locked in. We can go ahead and do the quick pass on Treylon Burks at 15.49, correct?
Yeah. I mean, has he become the most irrelevant player drafted in the first round in this draft? Maybe Lewis Seen, but I mean, top 20 pick. Yeah.
Trevor Penning, 16.68. Pulled his career from the brink last year, Joe. The first 2 years were ugly with a capital U for Trevor Penning. At least stabilized his play a little bit. But for the same logic that exists for Chris Olave, I think this is probably going to be a no for me as well.
Yep. Yeah, you can't lock in that number. Not for an uneven player like this.
Oh, and you have to make the decision before you play he
Yeah.
plays any additional snaps.
Yep.
So you have what information you have right now is what you're going to have before you have to make your decision. That's pass for me. And then if he plays well, you get a contract extension done.
Exactly.
Kenny Pickett, quarterback, Browns, third team. Still somehow on that rookie deal? My answer is no for $22.1 million.
That's going to be a no.
A hard pass. Trent McDuffie, this might be the easiest one we've had since Aiden and Sauce.
Maybe even easier. The dollar amount here is pretty good.
Right, 13.6. No Pro Bowls for Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie would like to decline his fifth-year option, but that's not available.
Don't give it to me. Just let me get the market 1 year early. Or give me the franchise tag.
Right.
Easy, yes, Trent McDuffie.
Easy, yes.
Quay Walker, stack backer, gets juiced by the edge rushers that get put in the same bucket as him. Quay Walker's fifth-year option is exactly the same as Travon Walker's and Kayvon Thibodeau's top 5 picks.
I think Quay Walker's been taking a step, and I really like the pairing of him and Edge Cooper.
Yep.
I hate a hard 14-7, though. I do. This is one that you let play out, and if you like him, you get a deal done and wind up not committing 14-7 to him in 2026.
Because I don't think even with the growth of the cap and the growth of the linebacker market, like I don't think proactively getting a contract extension done with Quay Walker would put you in this ballpark anyway.
Right. Yeah. I'm out on this one.
So in the same reason that the edge guys, you like the fifth-year option because they're pulled down by the linebacker group.
Yeah.
The linebackers are pulled up by the edge guys, and I don't like fifth-year options in general for them because of it.
Yep.
So I'm on Quay Walker. Kaiir Elam, Dallas, we got Cowboys back-to-back picks. 12.68 for Kaiir Elam, traded just a couple weeks ago from Buffalo to Dallas.
Yeah. It's obviously a no, but I'm not going to be surprised if Kaiir Elam becomes a good starter for the Cowboys. I really won't. So I think he needed a fresh start.
I don't think a lot of people, and know we're up against it, but we're not looking as dire as we were 4 minutes ago. I don't think a lot of people realize, like casual fans that aren't Cowboys fans, like the Trayvon Diggs situation looks very dire with the surgery that he had to have.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of opportunity in the secondary in Dallas, and Kaiir Elam should probably play a lot.
Yeah. I think it's a great trade for Dallas. I don't think he had a future in Buffalo. I think he kind of needed to get out of there.
Yeah.
But I think Dallas has an opportunity to get a really good player for a bag of balls. So, but you can't pick up this option. You can't commit to, you got to see what this year goes.
12.6 with no proof of concept, hasn't played it down for you.
Right.
No. Tyler Smith, 21.27 because he qualifies for, he's one of only 5 players in the class that's above the playtime incentive, and he's one of only 2 players, along with Aiden Hutchinson, that made 1 Pro Bowl throughout the first 3 years of his rookie contract. Tyler Smith.
The answer is yes, but Dallas, get the freaking extension done. Learn a lesson for once in your life.
Have you seen the biggest contracts from an AAV standpoint Dallas has given out in the last 10 years?
I'm sure
this
has got to be embarrassing.
I mean, they haven't given out an AAV contract in excess of $10 million since Greg Hardy in 2015.
Boy.
I think it was 2 years ago. The highest free agency AAV contract they gave out was 1.3 million.
Maybe if they got their own players done in a reasonable time frame and didn't overpay for every one of them because they can't get deals done, you'd have a little more money to spend on free agency.
It was very enlightening to see this has become like, for as much as we hammered them last year for being backlogged with cap space and all that, to not be bigger players when Jerry says we're all in. It's kind of just how they operate. It's just like their business in free agency in general.
Can't go to war with that.
You only get a handful of guys in 10 years that got more than $5 million AAV on their contracts. Right? It's tough. It's a tough way to make a living.
Tough.
No pressure, Will McClay. You just got to knock it out of the park again, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Another easy yes. Tyler Linderbaum, although he's getting the max juice from the offensive tackles as a center, his fifth-year option cost is $23.4 million, which would blow all other centers out of the water. It's almost like 33% more than Creed Humphrey's getting as the top 8 center in football.
Ravens got cap space, committed to Tyler Linderbaum. Like, get an extension done here. I think you say yes here, but ultimately you got to just get the extension done.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't let him play for 23 for statting.
No.
Jermaine Johnson, tough only because of the injury history. 13.4 qualifies for the basic threshold.
I'm not scared of that number.
It's an easy enough number for a good enough player.
Yes.
That I'm locked in. And it has a chance to play out like what the Jalen Phillips one was from 2021 that the Dolphins were in when Phillips was coming off of an Achilles tear in Thanksgiving as a productive player that hadn't made the leap, but the talent's there.
Yep. I'm fine with this one being a yes.
Cole Strange. Just when you thought Cole Strange was going to get put into the lineup because they moved on from David Andrews. And then they signed, who'd they sign? The center, Minnesota got cut. Help me out.
Oh, Garrett Bradbury. Yeah.
They signed Garrett Bradbury in free agency. It's like, I guess Cole Strange isn't going to start again.
Right.
16.685 million for Cole Strange's 5th-year option. It's probably no for me.
It's a no. Yeah. I think he's a decent player, but there's just been too many variables here that make it difficult. I think you skipped Devin Lloyd and Devontae Wyatt, though.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
I sure did. Shame on me. Devin Lloyd, 14.75.
I like Devin Lloyd. It's probably the Quay Walker conversation.
I was going to say, I'll turn it down for the same reason I turned down Quay Walker. And it's not an indictment of Devin Lloyd. It's the CBA.
It's a good player.
Pooling of positions.
Yep.
That just does not make it feasible or digestible for me. Devontae Wyatt, 13.92.
It's a tough one, right? I think he's been a good player. He's only started 5 games in 3 years. Like, I don't think you can do it. He's like a rotational player for them.
Mm-hmm.
I need more. I need more out of Devontae Wyatt for this to be a yes.
Let's draft an interior guy early. I know they got Carl Brooks in the pipe. Let's get another guy in early so that way we can decline this 5th-year option when we get out of the draft and we say, hey, we really like this guy. It's good protection for us, and go from there, which now leaves us with 2 more. George Karlaftis at 15.19 for the Chiefs.
Yes. Easy yes.
Very good player. And it's kind of crazy to think that Kansas City got Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis as really good players, both in the 20s, and neither one of them has made a Pro Bowl while playing for the Chiefs.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the wrong positions because there's so many other good players in the conference at those spots.
Right. Daxton Hill.
It's enough.
Bengals better hope he figures it out this year, though.
Health would be helpful.
Yeah, but 12.682 is the 5th-year option cost for Daxton Hill, and for that reason, I am out.
14 no's, Kyle. 14.
And we only had 30 because we didn't have Lewisine and we didn't have
also an Eagle, by the way.
Sauce Gardner. Philly's just pooling them.
Yeah, we'll take all the former first rounders.
So that is 16 versus 14, almost 50-50 split. We'll see what the league ultimately ends up doing, but that's going to do it for us here today. We're going to get into some NFL draft spotlights for positions here this week on Locked On NFL Scouting. We hope to see you throughout the course of the week. Kyle Crabbs, Joe Marino, make it a great rest of your day. I'll talk to y'all soon.